The Speck Presidio Pro, this case, is an average case. It handles well, but is actually very impressionable. And it doesn't even come close to my favorite Speck case, which is the Presidio Grip or Candyshell Grip, depending on what you can get where you are. Now, I'll be honest with you, I actually had a hard time doing this review because, well, these cases just don't excite me. But Monty told me to buck up, so here we are. In MobileReviewsEh, Monty tells me what to review and then I go buy it. He'd do it himself, but Face ID and Touch ID don't work on dogs, so he still kinda needs me. Specifically for my face and my finger. But when he told me to buy these cases, well, I had a bunch of words for him. You remember that conversation?
You want me to get what? Why? Okay, yeah, okay, you're so cute, yes you are, you're so cute, yes you are.
And when it comes to design, the Presidio Pro is a thin but wide case. It fits the iPhone quite well, the case is quite rigid, and will keep your iPhone from sliding around both on the front and on the back. Back not as much, but still pretty good. This case has a soft rubber coating, which makes the texture very, very nice, but it's also gonna wear a little quicker than other cases. I'll show you that in the drops. But the biggest thing for me in terms of this, whatever material Speck uses, is the fact that it still stains. Look at how grody the case looks in my white photo box. The staining problem also occurs on other Speck products as well. I'm in the process of reviewing the Speck Candyshell Fit, and that looks pretty terrible. Honestly, human bodies are just so gross. We're just a fountain of grease. So if you do get this case, get a dark colored one because dropping $40 on something that is a sponge for color is terrible. Again, impressionable. Now overall, the texture of this case is decent. I'm a big fan of the soft rubber coating as it's a great alternative to the aggressive nature of the TPU ribs like you would find on the grip variation of the cases. Ribs. We're gonna have ribs tonight? We can't because we're not going to the grocery store because we're all in isolation. Now the soft rubber coating that Speck uses isn't as sticky as some of the other coatings that you would find on something like the Tough Armor from Spigen. And that actually matters as the iPhone gets bigger. You know, on the iPhone 11 Pro, this soft rubber coating and the size of the device is gonna be doable. But as you get bigger, like even this 11 is kind of on the cusp of not being that useful, the soft rubber coating on the case anyways, and you go to 11 Pro Max, then the kind of weaker texture on the Speck Presidio Pro isn't really going to aid in the handling. Like the stuff from Spigen is a lot more aggressive, I guess, but as the phones get bigger, you kind of need that. And I say that because I'm sick and tired of dropping a really, really big iPhone in really, really crappy cases because this stupid iPhone, the big one, is so expensive. Before we continue on with this video, this is part of our isolation video series where I do a product review a day. So if you have been watching, this is video, I think 20 something. If you've been enjoying this, do share these videos with your friends. Other people need to be entertained during this time of social distancing, physical distancing. The overall build quality of the case is a smidge lower than other products from my perspective. The TPU and PC molding along the seams is a little rough, especially when compared to some of the other cases that I've just shown you earlier this week from like Ballistic. That Urbanet has incredibly smooth seams. I had no issues accessing my iPhone in the Presidio Pro. Buttons are nice, camera works fine, and the port cutout is large enough for whatever cable you decide to use. Edges are also tapered enough so that they don't sit in the way of gesturing. Now when it comes to protection, the iPhone sits along a series of ridges. These ridges and the corresponding air pockets is kind of what provides the majority of the impact protection and also is the reason why this case is so wide. Speck claims that the two-layered case has 13 feet worth of drop protection, which is a lot and kind of unnecessary. These companies with their extreme drop protection claims is basically like the speed meter on your car. Sure, 220 kilometers shows up, but should you really take it there? I tried once, not the car, dropping this Speck case from 13 feet, and that did not work out for me. Now the Speck Presidio Pro is going to do a great job protecting your iPhone from daily bumps and drops. There's no doubt about that, but there is a sharp downside to this case. Again, goes back to the TPU coating, is that the drops are going to scuff it up and it's, well, going to look kind of grody over time. Now when it comes to the scratching, basically a material with a hardness of 3 is going to scratch the back of the case. So if you have a hard piece of arsenic lying around, don't rub that hard piece of arsenic against this phone case. I chose arsenic because it was the most ridiculous thing in that list of materials on my scratch kits. So, you know, not because I've got arsenic lying around. I don't. That stuff's not good for you. If you eat it, that is. bad for mice.
So those were not terrible drops, but I realized that almost every single one of them resulted in the case actually cracking in the corners. So that actually really sucks. So really don't get this product. That wasn't even close to 13 feet, and yeah, like that's just rough.
So that's all I got for this video. Questions, comments, leave them down there. Again, this is part of my isolation video series where everybody gets entertained by me and Monty and I, grammatically correct, for, 5 minutes a day around noon-ish. So if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I do encourage you to click subscribe, because from now till the end of July, it's gonna be one product review a day. I know it's a big undertaking, but I'm doing it for you guys. If you're planning on getting this case, consider getting it through my Amazon links, because this video is not sponsored and it takes time to make sure that the case looks grody like this. Photo box. And that was like the best start, but then I forgot the word. Now, I had no issues accessing my iPhone in the Presidio the Presidio Pro. The Speck Presidio Pro, this case, is an average case. It handles decently.